Welcome to Talking Giants player profiles and projections. And on this one, we've got the captain of the defense, team captain too, Blake Martinez, 6'2", 237 pounds, 27 years old. He's actually on the COVID list right now, which is, this is a Thursday podcast. So he's missing practice right now on the COVID list. We're not going to talk too much about that. Signed a three-year, $30 million contract in 2020. Restructured it this offseason. So for 2021, he has a $6.7 million cap hit. Next year has a $14 million cap hit with a $5.5 million dead cap. I think they're going to want to extend Blake Martinez after this season. We'll see how, when they prioritize it. But man, Blake came in with some high expectations with a big contract. A lot of people weren't a big fan of him. And I can you find me a Giants fan who's like, man, Blake Martinez did not there's you can't find anyone who say he didn't live up to his contract and then some.
That's been my worst take. You probably can go through the treasure chest of all the takes that I've had since 2018, and I honestly think the reaction to Blake Martinez and mentioning his name in the same sentence as Alec Ogletree is the low point of my content life. And I'll be real. I'll say it right now. I'll put it out there. Say it with my chest.
I think everyone should just go harass Justin right now. How dare he? How dare he have a negative opinion?
It was a terrible take. It was a terrible take.
But anyways, Blake Martinez had 151 tackles, 9 tackles for a loss, 3 sacks, 1 interception, 6 QB hits. I mean, a little bit and a lot of everything in a sense. 600 tackles over the last 4 years, was 4th in the NFL in total tackles in 2020. And that's the thing, is that was a narrative around Blake was like, oh, he just has a bunch of tackles, but they're 6-7 yards down the field. And that just wasn't true. And I really do think he did get better. But part of it was being back paired with Patrick Graham, who he worked with in Green Bay. And they must have had they seem to have a really good relationship. And playing behind this defensive line, the New York Giants, does make it a little easier for linebacker play. But at the same time, linebackers sucked before Blake. So it's not just, oh, the D-lines are good, so the linebackers are good. Man, he's the captain of the defense. He knows where to be. He knows where everyone else has to be. And he's usually not too early, and he's usually not too late. Like, he's just kind of like that prototypical linebacker that we think of like the early 2000s and 90s, but he's doing it in 2021 and doing it well.
Best Giants linebacker since Antonio Pierce. And
I think he's better than Antonio Pierce.
I was going to say, I'm not going to be the one to sit here and argue that he's better than Antonio Pierce, but I know you will. I mean, he was 3rd in the NFL in defensive stops last year, and that's a PFF metric that basically measures how often a defensive player produces a negative offensive play. So I don't even think it needs to be like a loss, a loss in terms of a negative, like -1 yards.
0 yards, 1 yards. I think that's like,
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, third in the NFL in defensive stops, Blake Martinez. And we know that he's a tackling machine and, great feel for the game, are some of the notes that I have. Bobby, I think he also forced 4 turnovers last year.
3 sacks. I think he forced a fumble versus Tampa.
Fumble versus Tampa. He
forced 1 interception. How many forced? So that means he would have 3 forced fumbles. I can't believe I didn't write that down.
Yeah, he forced a fumble against Washington. Remember, like, he chased somebody. They were going down the left sideline, and he forced
that was
and that ball bounced for like 20 yards, and nobody could fall on it. Hey, but the Giants fell on it. Giants were actually, I think, pretty fortunate with their forced fumbles last year. 2 forced fumbles and 2 interceptions.
1 fumble recovery, and then an interception. So that comes out to 4.
There you go. So, first 4 turnovers last year, and that's pretty big. And, Bobby, we could talk more about his game. But you know what? I'm just going to come out and say it. There's 17 games, and this is Blake Martinez's 2nd year with the New York Football Giants. Dalvin Tomlinson left. I am expecting more out of Blake Martinez. And why I put him in under the same breath as Dalvin Tomlinson is Dalvin was part of the reason why, this isn't a knock on Blake Martinez, but Dalvin being as good as he was is part of the reason why Blake is as good as he was. It's a team game, and everybody benefits from everybody being good. But I'm kind of expecting more of this year from Blake Martinez, and I think that's kind of crazy. I'm expecting an all-pro year. I really am expecting an all-pro
year. Another all-pro year, because my man got snubbed. He got snubbed at Pro Bowl. He got snubbed at all-pro. The Pokemon King. He really did get snubbed. But let's talk about how he can do that. He plays with the right mix of aggression and patience. Like, it really is beautiful. And you just see him, like, go through blocks. Like he just navigates his way through traffic. Cause like we haven't really seen that from a Giants linebacker in forever.
No.
Um, and something we noticed, probably around the Rams game, and then we like really were looking out for is like, man, they got him a line pretty far back, like he's not playing. They're not playing him like up close to the line of scrimmage. They're letting him
7
play
yards.
back,
7 yards.
7 yards, which is allowing him to play in coverage. And again, it's how everything works where, you had Dalvin, Leo, and Dex playing the run. So it allows those guys to play. But even playing that far back, he was coming up at the line of scrimmage, making hits, stopping guys. And what's awesome is Blake set the tone from week 1 against Pittsburgh. Like that Pittsburgh game is like, man, this guy is this is real deal. This is what it's like to have good linebacker play. We haven't seen this in a long time. So he's just got like that right mix of aggression. And then in other facets of the pass rusher, 3 sacks, 6 QB hits. They would use him as, just line up in the A gap and blitz, and he did well doing that. And then they would have those third down plays where they would have Blake Martinez, Leonard Williams, an edge player, and one other player, and they would do different types of stunts, popping out, would have Blake popping, and just did well in that. Like, everyone playing their role right, setting other guys up for plays, whether it was a Jabril Peppers sack or whatnot. So, so it was just like, and we can talk about coverage in a second. It's like everything that they asked Blake to do, he was good at, whether it was coverage, whether it was pass rushing, or just playing the run, which he's known the most for.
Yeah, we talked about it with Tay Crowder yesterday, but part of where I feel like Tay Crowder learned not getting washed out in the run game is from Blake Martinez being patient. And we knew that coming in. We knew that Blake Martinez, no matter how people thought of him as a player, no matter how suspect maybe it was at the time, we knew at the time, like, hey, Blake Martinez is not going to be as bad as Alec Ogletree, and he's going to be that, he's going to have that combination of being patient, not getting washed out, but then also being aggressive when he needs to be. But in terms of him as a blitzer, how Blake Martinez, I think, can be more effective this year. And I actually want double-digit QB hits this year. Sacks, I'm not gonna, say I want 5 sacks. I think that's kind of crazy. That's kind of insane. But I'm looking for double-digit QB hits this year because I'm thinking that Patrick Graham's going to be a little bit more aggressive this year. But where Blake Martinez is so instinctual and smart is that if, let's just say, he's playing man-on-man with the running back in the backfield, and that running back in the backfield is just staying there to pass block, he recognizes right away that, oh, this guy isn't going anywhere. I'm going to come in like a bat out of hell and try to get the sack on the quarterback. That's how the sack happened against Andy Dalton. The biggest highlight play that I think he had was the sack against Mullins, where he gets up and he does the Zeke Elliott, eating the bowl of cereal, whatever. That play is based off of, hey, he's recognizing early that it's play action, and that he doesn't really have an exact assignment. So he's going to go in. He sees an open lane like a bat out of hell, and he's going to get the sack on the quarterback. So it's not just scheme. It's him being instinctual, smart, and also being quick to react, which also translates to him in pass coverage, which I'll let you talk about next.
Well, let's talk about coverage. He like a knock on him coming out was like, man, this guy, he sucks in coverage. Do we ever remember a play where Blake gave up like a big play in coverage?
No.
Like, like if you ask me about now, obviously James Bradbury plays corner, so it's different. But it's like I can remember plays where it's like, oh, Bradbury got caught on a pick versus Juju Smith-Schuster, and they got him on a touchdown on a crosser. Like I can remember, like DK Metcalf got him on this play. Like I can remember some of those plays. With Blake, I just don't remember any. But what I do remember is him understanding it. And the James Bradbury interception versus Kyle Allen, a lot of that was Blake Martinez. He played the underneath route the correct way, and he played it quick and played it aggressively. And then when he was playing over, like, when he was playing back and playing that curl hook or the Logan Ryan interception versus Washington and the next week, Blake, getting back, getting depth and doing that. And that's without a good pass rush. Like the defense did not have good pass rush ability. And Blake Martinez was never a liability, which, I mean, middle linebackers have screwed us over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it was Alec Ogletree, whether just whoever was out there, it was like, man, that middle part of the field between the linebackers and safeties would get attacked at times, especially it seemed like when we were playing Dallas. So, I mean, it seems like we're saying this with every facet of his games, but he just understands what's going on at every time, and he's just a step ahead of the offense at all moments of a game.
Yeah. And I was even watching a little bit of a film breakdown that Sean O'Hara did of of Blake, and the offense knows where to go. And Blake Martinez does not know where the offense is headed, and that is why, playing defense is so tough, where you have to read and react, especially at linebacker. I will say Patrick Graham, this is where Patrick Graham really comes in and helps, because I think Patrick Graham put him in ideal situations where you're covering the men in your zone and he's not playing man coverage. He's not being asked to chase down a running back, a speedy running back, and keep up with the speedy running back. He's being asked to cover the men in his zone. And because of how instinctual he is, I think that's why he does such a good job. And he does such a great job diagnosing play action too. And doing that in today's NFL is so, so important, because, we played the Rams last year. We got the Rams again on our schedule this year. And the Rams, for the past 4 or 5 years, have run the most play action in the National Football League at the highest rate. So diagnosing play action and seeing oh, this tight end, he's not staying in here to block. This wide receiver, he's already starting to run around. The offensive lineman may look like they're pass blocking, but Blake Martinez is able to see, be patient, diagnose what's happening in front of him, and then react from there. And he made some nice plays on Cooper Kupp in the middle of the field, one-on-one situations, wrapping up, nice tackle. And, while Cooper Kupp isn't the most elusive guy in the world, anybody in that Rams offense is still pretty difficult to bring down in the open field. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I want more. I want more, though.
Yeah, you mentioned coaching and Patrick Graham and how that benefited him. And honestly, when we signed him and we went and watched his film, I mean, I would get so mad at the Green Bay's defensive coordinator. It's like, what are you guys doing? It's like, you guys are asking this guy to do everything and giving him no help. It's like, you guys are playing the 49ers. They're running a fullback and 2 tight ends, and you got Adrian Amos next to him playing the second inside linebacker. Like, what are you guys doing? You know, um, you look at his coverage numbers, there's a 80-yard touchdown catch versus the Vikings. It's like, well, they put him on man coverage with the slot receiver on a drag that he stops on a dime and turns around. It's like, well, yeah, I don't expect any linebacker to stick with him. And maybe unless we're talking like an Isaiah Simmons type athlete. So Blake, very happy he's a part of this team. I hope they do figure out some type of contract extension at the end of this year. Like you said, do more, boss. You are the captain of the team. Be an all-pro, be a beast. And you know what? If we make the playoffs, a lot more people are going to be putting respect on Blake Martinez's name.
He's going to break 165 tackles this year, the best in his career. And this is total tackles, not solo. Total tackles was 155, and that was in 2019. He's obviously going to break that this year, but the question is just by how much.
Do it. 250 tackles this year for Blake Martinez. All right. Appreciate you guys. See you on the next one. Until then, let's go Big Blue.